against the Sacramento Kings. By the end, it's a blowout, 128-112, but it was not a blowout in any way, shape, or form. Sacramento, having lost 5 in a row, came in feisty, committed, defended, played with a great level of tenacity, and the Jazz had to fight through it. And Donovan Mitchell did it again. Just remarkable. Finished with 42 points, a career-high free throws made and free throws attempted tonight. And on a night in which, at least in my eyes, watching him, I thought he was on empty for much of the night, and he dug in and found something out of somewhere. Jazz also make a change in their closing lineup. We'll talk about all of it coming up on POSTCAST. POSTCAST is brought to you by the friends over at Biograss, the Big Yellow Bag. Get $40 off a cubic foot at bigyellowbag.com with the promo code Locked On. It's also brought to you by Grip 6 belts. Grip 6, the great belts with no flaps, no holes, and no, I don't remember the third one right now. I'm tired. It's Saturday. What do you need? Bowler needs another final? I already printed Bowler final. What happened to your my mechanism? Yeah, I got one for Bowler. All right. To me, the biggest story tonight is Donovan. I just thought he was I thought he was exhausted. He commented the other night that he was exhausted. And then he found a way to bring another level and be able to fight it as much as he possibly could. He had 14 in the fourth quarter tonight. He had 11 in the third quarter tonight. In the third quarter tonight, he had 16. He had 30 points in the second half, in which which was the second most he's had. I think 33 is his career high. And I watched him in the first half of this game. He was 1 of 6 in the first quarter, the second quarter, 2 of 8 in the first. He was 3 of 14. And it wasn't like I thought Sacramento was doing a lot to stop him. He just looked, his shots were short. He came out, he buried 2 threes right out of the chute to open up the quarter. I said on the air at the time, I'm interested to see how Donovan plays this, whether he's just on empty and he can force himself on the game like he has so many times, or whether or not he's going to let the game come to him, and he just absolutely took over. This was a tough game. The Kings came out. They switched everything. They sagged in off the switches. Rashawn Holmes might be their best on-ball defender. They didn't seem real bothered when he ended up guarding Mike Conley or Donovan Mitchell or other guys on picks, and I thought the Jazz really fought through it but had a hard time with what Sacramento was bringing. I thought Sacramento had tremendous energy and juice to the ball game. They're just short guys. They just don't have 240 minutes of guys, and the Jazz took advantage, but then the Sacramento bench brought the game back, and the Jazz end up in a tussle down the stretch until they had to take over and get it done. The other one that deserves a lot of praise is Mike Conley, 8 of 14, 26 points, but he has just been great in the clutch. He's the 5th best shooting percentage of any player in the clutch this year. He made maybe the biggest play of the night was a Mike Conley play, the kind of where the Jazz had to get one where he brought it in, just kept it alive. Holmes on a switch, and just very patiently and kind of understanding what needed to take place, got it done, and the Jazz get the win tonight. Final score, 128-112. The other one of interest, the Jazz crushed them on the glass. You know, Luke Walton did something interesting tonight where he went to a small lineup because he didn't really have a backup center. And it felt like it was a reasonable move, and it felt like it made some sense. I actually think it might have terribly backfired. I'll have to look at the numbers. My feeling is it terribly backfired on them, but I'm not sure. All right, let's get your comments and your thoughts on this one. Daniel Calvert says, well, he meant to say Mitchell. That is all go Jazz, but he misspelled Mitchell. Palindrome night for Don. 42 points and 24 straight home wins. I like it. JW is going to be tough on Bojan. He was 2 of 8 tonight. He has 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists tonight. He had some tough matchups on things tonight. It was interesting. The Jazz closed with Joe Ingles tonight instead of Bojan Bogdanovic. So the Jazz closed with a lineup of Royce, Joe, and Rudy, Mike, and Donovan. Speaking of Royce, on this show the other night, I think I talked about that. I thought he was hurt, or maybe I talked about him on Locked On Jazz. And in fact, he was wearing a brace on that leg, and I don't think his gait looks great. So he is gaming it. He unfortunately did not make a 3, and the stretch continues for him. Let's go to Andy Donovan spectacular. Conley so crafty, and Joe so delightful, irritating to opponents. Joe was having a little fun today out there, talking back to his talking game. What's going on with Ingles and Fox, whatever it was, got Joe going? You know what? I don't know. I did see some talking. I don't know what the story was. De'Aaron Fox had 30, hit some big shots early. Joe had 5 threes again tonight. Was that the final number? Or did he hit a 6th? Joe went 5 of 10 from 3, holding to 50% for the season, which is just remarkable. Hey, Locke, the game was amazing. I was wondering what trash talk from Niang looks like. Is he bragging that his minivan has more cup holders? He was having Iowa State talk on Tyrese Halliburton today. Donovan MVP, ? Said Aiden Welsh. I think he's going to win player of the week. 42 points. 40 points for 3 games in a row, basically. He's got 120 points. Will probably win you player of the week. I don't know. Guys, I missed whatever happened with De'Aaron Fox after the game. I don't know what guys are talking about. So I apologize that I missed that. So I'm not sure. Someone can try to inform me. But bench play tonight was a story. I mean, their bench is terrible. Davis was 0 for 4. Metu was 1 of not 4. DeLon Wright was 0 of 0. Tyrese Halliburton they basically have 6 guys. And the Jazz took advantage of that. They'll give them. Sacramento came out and gamed it. Like, I can't imagine if Sacramento plays that hard, they would have lost to Detroit. They are battling for that 10th spot right now. Amazing win. Kings are a good team, giving them easy baskets. Jazz having to earn the harder ones. This one wasn't for the faint of heart. Jazz cut off Sacramento's transition. The Kings, by the end of the night, were only at 14% of their possessions in transition, which is really a good job by the Jazz, because Sacramento usually plays about 80% of their possessions in the half court. And the Jazz were able to keep them at 84% of their possessions in the half court tonight. And that's just a huge advantage, what you're trying to do to them. Rebounding advantage, free throw advantage by the Jazz, 35-22, was really largely because they were switching everything, and the Jazz were left to having to force and drive and do that. Rashawn Holmes is really good, guys. Gobert seemed to struggle against Holmes. He did not score in the fourth quarter, though, and he had 21 in the first half. Holmes finished with 25, so the Jazz made some adjustments at halftime. Jazz continue to be the third best third quarter team in all of the NBA. Paul Salati's got a note for me on the schedule. With the exception of the week of the 19th, where the Jazz play 3 games, they play 4 games the rest of the week. Interesting? No. Level of workload outrageous. We're going to have some duds here pretty soon. It's just got to happen. There's just so many games in which they're playing. You're going to have some duds. Pick and roll with Rudy was not working. Matchup, or were the Kings crowding him? The Kings were switching every single pick and letting Rashawn Holmes guard the ball, and then the Jazz couldn't get the ball into Rudy. He only got 2 shots all night. So they were switching everything, and Rashawn Holmes, I thought, did a fabulous job. I thought Sacramento was really good tonight. Joe Ingles plus 27 tonight, 20 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 5 of 10 from 3. I cannot explain the impact and the importance of Joe Ingles scoring 20 points on 11 shot attempts. And frankly, Mike Conley, 26 points on 14 shot attempts. Like, that is astronomical on what the impact of that is. Don from YouTube, Donovan kicked it in when needed. We are so fortunate to have Derek Favors. Ingles 3, good win. Keep the streak alive. Jazz have won 24 straight at home. Let's see, I'm just trying to check and see if there was anything out. I was trying to see if there was anything. Taylor Gamble says something I didn't really notice, that he felt like Donovan's defensive energy was really elevated. I thought Donovan got burned on 3 straight plays defensively. Quinn took him out of the game, and then when Donovan came back, he was a ball of fire. So, 42 for Don's amazing. Mike going behind the picks. Joe hitting the 3s. This team's got a lot of weapons, and they win 40 for the first team in the NBA to win 40 this year. They win their 24 straight at home. Have a